castle. You're faithful or you're a traitor. There comes Alan coming. One of you must go and we'll see you later. You're a traitor.
Hello, faithful friends, and welcome to Tally the Votes, Traitors Season 3, Episode 7. This week, the traitors got the cop, the robber, and the loot in the tune of another $22,000 to the winner's pot. And tonight, I am here with my trio of never traitors. And the first on that list is a fellow who is strong and tall and never a creepy crawl. It's our guy, Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hey, it's Kentucky Brian here tonight. We got some talking to do.
Next is a woman whose crochet hook makes couture fashion and is filled with theatrical passion. A friend whose hand I would hold through any of life's challenges. It's my girl, Christy.
Hey, it might be a nice day for a white wedding. How are you guys doing?
Nice.
And speaking of weddings, our bride amongst bridesmaids, the belle of the ball, is a fella who, much like Rob, has found himself on more than one occasion saying the words, "Close your eyes if you don't want to see what goes in the box." David, thanks for being here.
Like so many things. We laugh because it's funny. We laugh because it's true.
Well, guys, this week had a lot of really fun moments, but plotting a murder is most likely where we should start. So the setup is traitors don't trust each other, can't agree with each other. Who did they kill? So I'm going to go right over to David because this week the choice was your winner's pick, Derek with 2 R's.
I know, and I called it. If you recall, at the end of the last episode, I said he kills Derek, and then I thought he would align with Caroline and go after Danielle, which would have been the move. He didn't and paid for it. But I would have liked to have thought Derek could survive, but I don't see how there was no way. What I love is the two girls going, "No, we're not going to do that. What you want," and then they do every week.
Yep. They
Yes.
do. And I mean, in fact, Danielle was like, "Oh, I'm making a deal." Like if I give you Derek, can we start over? Are we good? But I mean, to be fair, Derek knew he was next too. I mean, there was no question. That's why he set Dylan up with all the information.
I want to jump in and give some behind the scenes here.
Yes, sir.
David texted me halfway through the episode and said, "See, Rob can always get people to do what he wants. He always gets them and they always do what he wants." And let me tell you, that was a wonderful, wonderful aperitif for the rest of this episode. It was so wonderful.
I mean, an argument could be made that he still got quite a few people to go with him still, yet.
He did.
Still.
Yeah. I mean, he trudged them along for a little ways, at least.
Yeah.
Christy, so Danielle calls the truce. And I don't know. I find myself questioning whether or not I would buy it. Would you have bought it? I mean, you're going to want to make things work, but would you have honestly bought that truce?
Well, her and Carolyn had already had a conversation very similar to this, where she had sold her, I'm not going after you, and then that was her chance to come clean and say, "Hey," some people might say I said some things today. She didn't tell her. Then Carolyn hears it all, so it seems like it's still the first time she's betraying her, but for Carolyn it feels like twice, does it not? So when she tells her again now that, "Oh, you can trust me," I don't see how anyone could trust Danielle in that situation. Honestly.
Yeah, it's the fool me once. But it's weird because you're talking about this and I don't have notes on this. This is just an observation I just made in my own head about how much Carolyn's hands were featured in this episode. Because there's this very poignant handshake between her and Danielle, where she looks like she's gonna pull Danielle in and bite her face. but like that
there's no way.
handshake and then the hand holding later. And then at the end
Oh
of the
yeah.
round table too, she's sitting there wringing her hand. So I don't know. It's a pointless thing, I guess, to point out, but just
But
something I was like,
interesting theme.
lots of
I
Carolyn hand.
maybe that's foreshadowing that she's at the end going to be the only one with the ring,
And then
the
there was
treasure, the money.
the glove situation that Dennis brought to our attention last week
Mm-hmm.
with Carolyn and the
Yeah.
gloves.
I don't think Carolyn believed her for a minute, but you kind of have to just go like, sure, I'm shaking your hand, but I don't believe a word you're saying. And I
Yeah.
don't think Danielle, she was trying to make Carolyn believe her, and I think she's still underestimating Carolyn, and she thinks that she's a convincing liar. I don't think Danielle was even telling the truth.
And that's what I wanted to kind of ask everybody. Do we all think that Danielle thinks she's doing really well, or is Danielle thinking like, oh, I hope she bought it?
Danielle is at the peak of the Dunning-Kruger curve right now. She is playing terrible and thinks she's wonderful. And there was so much disarray in the turret that it would have been a great move if they'd thought about it. It just happened to be a great move to let Rob kill Derek.
Yeah, they didn't plan that at all.
Right.
If they had planned it, that's still a great move because it puts another piece of evidence against Rob. But I think they literally were so focused on each other, they just said, okay, to fix the alliance, let's give Rob what he wants, and Rob got what he wanted. Yay, Rob!
And that's why I don't understand why he didn't. I mean, he knew there was the fissure between Caroline and Danielle. Why didn't he exploit that? It doesn't make sense to me. That should have been the natural move.
Especially when later he's like, I don't
because
understand.
Because he would have carried with
Carolyn.
Him and Caroline, he would have had 2 votes. He would have only needed 4 more. He could have easily gotten that for Danielle. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he was thinking with the Brittany, other than he was opportunistic and he thought she already had a couple of votes going in, and maybe he could pull her over.
Well, it planted the seed, so he wanted that to come to fruition because he'd already started that plan before, right?
Well, it's interesting that. It's interesting that, upon his exit, he says that the thing with Carolyn surprised him because he was truly planning to go to the end with Rob, which I do believe. He usually has one person that he will, in order to win, he'll double cross them at the end, but he will go to the end with one person. I believe that. Why he didn't decide to cut Danielle with Carolyn, the only thing I can think of is that then that could possibly have brought in a different traitor that he couldn't control. Like, I think he knew he could still kind of control Danielle and Carolyn, and getting rid of Danielle would have maybe brought a variable that he wasn't ready for.
Maybe. But he's dumb if he didn't recognize that going after Brittany was going to make Carolyn upset.
And Danielle, like even with their beef. Oh, right. Danielle, with the fact that Danielle had to one more time say, oh, well, Brittany did me wrong. Like, you have literally killed every single one of your best friends from Big Brother since we started this show. Come on. Can we let that rest now? Like, you're getting it's a game, right? Like,
and it was reindeer games. It wasn't even really a game.
It was like a week and a half long game, right?
We didn't even take it that seriously.
Just throw some money at him.
It's so ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. We head to breakfast, and we get the Brittany narrations that we've been missing, and I'm so glad for it. Where we get the storytelling of Ivor and his tea making, and
was that not the best moment though?
And her going,
when the girl says,
"There's no jam, Ivor. There's no jam." So Brittany and Ivor are having a little conversation, and David, go ahead. You're talking about Gabby.
Yeah, when Gabby says, "Well, Ivor could be gone," and Ivor's like, "I'm right here."
She was saying, "I thought he was gone yesterday." I think in her head.
No, she was thinking she didn't see him.
Yeah, but she said that I thought he was a goner yesterday.
Right, but she was inferring that he wasn't going to come through the door. And he's like, "Hello, I'm here." And she was like, Oh my gosh, I didn't see you down there.
See, and when I misunderstood it, I thought that she had gotten him confused with Bob H.
Well, I did
It's
that
like
earlier.
the
So
two older dudes. And so she was like, "Oh yeah, Ivor was gone yesterday," getting the name switched in her head. But he's sitting there. Oh yeah, wrong old dude. I don't know.
Well, I
That's what
thought
I
it was
meant.
such a great setup when you had Brittany going like, "Ivor does nothing. He's just like, who's this? Where's he? Like, oh, he's moving the tea from this, you know." And then the next moment we get, it's like somebody not even recognizing he's right in
Get
front
in
of
the
her.
room, yeah. Oh gosh, poor dude.
But he handled it really well. And, you know, she did too, honestly. I
I
mean, at
mean,
least she was able to laugh at herself.
he let it slip that he had been at Di's wedding. So I mean, he's
That's
been
true.
some places.
He's
I
yes.
have a feeling Gabby has to laugh at herself quite often.
I think that Gabby laughs at herself a lot. And I
I
think
mean,
that's why I
she's
do
not
like her.
doing any advanced rocket science. Is my point.
No, she's not.
She's
But I
100% Joey Lawrence, right? Or whatever. No, wait, not no. What's her name? Not Joey Lawrence. Not that dude. Wait, hold on.
whoa,
Whoa. Not that
whoa,
dude.
Blossom, whoa.
Not that dude.
The
What did
moment
you
when the
say?
cold
Wait,
medicine
I'm
takes
so
over
close.
Christy's
What is
brain.
it? Jamie can't stop laughing.
Wow.
Jamie will. As soon as she'll tell us. Who am I
Chasing
thinking
Amy, chasing Amy. I'm sorry, my brain's not coming
of?
up with the name.
Joey
yes, Joey. Yes,
something.
yes.
Cute girl has a boy's name.
Right. And
Joey
Mallrats.
something with an L. Something. I feel
Joey
like.
Lauren Adams.
Yeah,
There we
Brian
go.
brought it to the table. Thank
Whoa.
you, Brian.
That's because
No,
nobody
she
gave
does.
Brian cold medicine yet.
Gabby has something about her that reminds me of her. Yeah, you're right.
Yep, absolutely.
Mhm.
Now, I would say one of the highlights of breakfast, which usually is the case, is when Alan appears and he is dressed from head to toe in a spick and span white suit and tie. But we don't know yet. We
No,
don't know.
it's so clean. It's so
And we
virginal.
do not know
Guys.
how amazing it's gonna get.
I thought honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. When he came and walked dressed like that, I thought maybe we were getting a little like Cruella Deville kind of situation going on. I don't know why. But it didn't. It went somewhere totally different. But his hair
Well,
was so white and frosty.
he was, you
Good.
know what, and he was frosty cold about saying goodbye to Derek, and Danielle sobbed so hard
Okay,
as
to be
if
fair, she
Derek
was
was
already
truly
sobbing.
murdered.
She was already really, really sobbing before he even walked in the room.
Danielle was sadder than I was, and I
She
gotta
was
say
ridiculous. She was ridiculous. I'm
She's
sorry. It's a
I think
game.
she's a little I think maybe she's a little stressed out. I think that's what it really is. I think she's just a
I just
little
think she's
stressed
not a
out.
good actress. And she thinks
She
she's
may-
being a good actress. Like, okay, I'm a traitor, so I have to act like I'm sad because everyone knows we're close. But it's too much, and people are calling it.
Yep. Yep.
The real test will be, and you'll know if it's genuine or not, is next week when we find out what she does face to face. If
Mhm.
she's like, because you know, in the turret later, she's like, and we get to do it face. I think it's all BS when she does it face to face. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I would not want to be a traitor. I would struggle with it. It's the best strategic place to be, but
I
I
think the
think
traders have such a big advantage.
that they do, and they've wasted it. They
But hold on a second.
Mhm.
It is a game, so you have to think about it as when you're playing a board game against friends. Do you feel bad if you beat them?
No.
No. So you
No.
really have to think of it like that. So that's why in that situation, if
For
Danielle is
instance, if
truly
we were playing Fireball Island and a friend of ours, like I beat him really badly,
and then
I'd be
he
happy.
and then he
I'd
like
do a little
flips the
dance.
table.
And
Yeah.
it is actually improved if you have a man from France yelling, "No, David, no!"
No.
Give me
Same
the
in French and
jewel.
English.
That's the best. That's really the goal you want. Danielle would not be crying if she
So
had
so
someone
that's
yelling,
the
"No,
thing.
Danielle!"
Danielle is acting. She's thinking one-dimensional acting, okay? She's thinking everyone knows we're friends, and so therefore I should look upset. But what she needs to be thinking is I need them to think I'm a faithful. So therefore, as a faithful, I would be super glad it's not me, but also sad to see my
Or be
friend go.
mad that they sent your friend home, not sad.
Yeah, but you would still be a little relieved, like, ooh, it wasn't me, right?
See, I'm in the thought that Danielle is not acting and that she is overly emotional about it because of guilt. Because Derek's her best friend, and then she like let Rob cut him. And the last time that this happened, and she let Rob cut her friend, it was the same thing. And the way she defends people when she is in the turret, and she goes, no, you can't touch this person.
But she let him cut Derek by saying, let's all really
Make
start
a deal.
over fresh.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, when everyone's later on, her and Carolyn don't go by that. Starting
I just want to
fresh
say,
in
I
that
think
room.
she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs at this point.
I
That's
think
what I
she
mean. I
might
think
be
she,
a little
I
cuckoo.
think she might be a little bit stressed out. I just don't think she's
Yeah.
balancing herself out. I think she's overplayed. She's second guessing.
Everybody says this game's harder.
I could see that.
I mean, when Caroline has her shit together more than you,
Right.
that's bad.
But
Right.
see, here the thing about Carolyn is it's easier when you don't act. If you're
Right.
just you,
Yeah.
you can
She's
always
just
just be
her.
you. And
she's been the same since day one.
Yeah, you just be your wacky self.
Nobody suspects her. Nobody.
No, and in fact, we got to watch the reaction of the reveal from Bob H and Wes. And by the way, Wes does like a dead-on impression of Carolyn's facial expression. So
That's
if you
pretty
haven't
good.
watched
That
it
was
yet, you
hilarious.
should.
Hilarious.
Pretty nice.
But what I did find interesting about that is that both of them gave Danielle a lot of credit. But I honestly just think that's their perspective from where they're at versus what we're seeing her mess up on. But Carolyn, no, not even on their radar, not even a little bit. Which is
But there's a
great.
lot of people giving Danielle credit, which I'm surprised to see.
But is
And
it
again,
they're
a
given
perspective.
okay, but you have to think about it from what they're seeing. They're not seeing the whole show and behind the scenes. What
Mhm.
they're getting is this person is the traitor. So
Yep.
they don't know what's going on. So they might be going, oh wow, she's been super vocal. She's been, sticking her neck out there, but the things that she's been doing must have been great. You think these guys think that she did what Rob wanted? That's not what they're thinking.
No.
Until they watch them, they'll go, oh, she just
Oh,
basically did
maybe.
whatever
Oh,
Rob
okay.
wanted. Okay. And then it'll be clear. So, okay. So we've got breakfast, Danielle Tears, amazing white suit. Then we've got Brian and we got Dylan who's laying out Derek's last words, and we had kind of talked last week that, this was going to probably play out exactly the way Derek wanted to. But the surprise was to me that while this was happening, Tom comes out of nowhere and calls out Rob, but he makes a statement that I know had to get a nod from you when he said he's the only one with evidence against him, with actual evidence. So I know you had to be like, oh, hey, Tom, what's up?
You know what? I created, if you look here, my Instagram account, Legal Fergus. I created an Instagram account and followed all you guys in Traitors and the Traitors Left and Bob the Drag Queen and Alan and Peacock, and that's all my people on that account.
Yeah.
But I followed
Man.
it to make a picture of Tom saying, if I die today, I will die a happy man. And I put the Tom Petty song, I Won't Back Down, playing over it on the Instagram. So if you want to see that and go check it out.
Oh, Brian making a Tom Stan post is...
Well,
wow.
I just want to, and this will play into my rant later. But Tom sort of played the male Carolyn this time. That out of nowhere, here comes Tom off the top rope with evidence. And I gotta admit, it was a little bit touching to see him almost like a child happy that people were like, good job, Tom. Like he, and saying, I gained my place at the table and got some respect and, but
Maybe
I'll
Carolyn will
save
get
the
that.
rest for later. But
Or
yes,
maybe not.
there it is.
Or maybe not.
There's my
Maybe she'll-
post. David's showing. And it has Tom Petty. I won't back down. Play over. But the this round table was condensed. It didn't start till about 40 some minutes, and it
Yeah.
wasn't that long. I mean,
It
it
wasn't
really
as dramatic.
simplified.
No, not as
Yeah,
long as
because
they've been.
we spent a lot of time in the challenge. The challenge was a lot longer, which it's funny because last week we were discussing about how the challenges are just kind of meh. I really loved this challenge. I thought it brought so many different aspects into this. Like, yeah, you got the silly creepy crawly thingies, and people are grossed out. But first of all, the most important part is they all go out into the courtyard. And then there is Alan, the most striking bride of the season.
No,
Dear
but the
reader.
way he turned a tuxedo into a wedding dress.
Yeah. And then
So
the rose cascade down it was beautiful.
And his little curly cues he
Yes!
had, and the veil was so very
It was something. It was
What?
He
it
got a
was-
little,
And-
he got
and
a
I-
little snippy because Fergus took too long bringing the okay.
Yeah.
And he for like 1 second channeled like Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror, like I
Oh
thought
my
he was
God,
going to start
yes.
whipping him. He gave this look like Fergus now.
with the
and
bouquet.
Fergus looked great. Like
Smacking it.
everybody looked great. So okay.
Again, production value
but-
way
but-
up.
Just fun.
But
just for
before we
funsies.
jump forward, let's say what made this challenge, I think, fascinating. And it really wasn't like a physical hard challenge or a mental challenge other than toughness.
Yeah.
But I liked that everybody had to pick a partner too, blind, and not
Yes.
know what you were going into.
So
Like,
you had to
Yeah.
have a partner. You didn't know what
you-
kind of challenge you would be having.
Are you competing
but-
against them or with them? You don't
Not
know.
only did you have to choose a partner, but you had to do it in some of the most highest fashion I have seen. Okay,
Okay.
guys, listen. It's award
All the
season,
outfits were so
right?
good. All those outfits were good.
It's award season. There's red carpets all over
Yeah.
the place. So I have to ask each of you, other than Alan's, because Alan doesn't count in this because obviously Queen Bee. But who do you think was best dressed?
Ooh.
best couple for the men, it
couple
was
was-
Tom. It was Tom with that hat and what happened to that hat in the challenge. And for
No,
the
that was
women,
awesome.
I gotta say, damn girl, Sierra. whew.
Mhm.
I agree with
She
that.
is gorgeous.
Oh, and that
She's
was
so
a beautiful,
beautiful.
beautiful outfit.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything very goth, red and black. It was really
I
cool.
I like
So much
my
plaid.
eyes were just
Ugh.
eating it up. Like
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. I
Oh.
loved Carolyn had very like it's kind of creepy. It was so Carolyn.
It was like the
I-
coolest gang of people I want to go hang out with.
Yeah, they looked amazing.
I about died when they jumped the maggots on him, and Brittany goes, "They're
The
in my bra,
mealworms.
and I did not consent."
Yeah.
So like, that's
I think I remember it was her, one of them that said, "You'll be hearing from my lawyer."
that was not her. That was
So okay, so Dolores and Chriselle out immediately because clearly Chriselle does not do anything that is alive and moves. Not even at all.
well. Wouldn't you be pissed off if that was your
Dolores
partner? I would be
was not
sitting there
happy.
like shooting
Dolores
down.
was a little,
Yep.
especially because it was so quick and not a single other couple fell out, right?
Yes. Yeah. I
So-
mean, they literally didn't even get anything
Yeah.
in. She was like, nope, 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 and she was
Yeah.
done.
Well, it's and this is heightened because you're going to be one of 6 left after
Mhm.
this. Like the pool of being murdered is so small that you have a legitimate chance of being murdered. Like, I mean, the piss
Just
factor
randomly,
would be at
just-
like
well,
at a
you're
10.
For no reason
you're one
other
of
than-
6, but you have to assume there's at least one, if not 2 traitors in there. So you're really
Right.
one of 4 or 5.
Right. So I mean,
Yeah,
you could have a
slim.
20 to 25% chance of being taken out.
Yeah.
Slim pickings. And okay, I know that I feel like everybody here is going to agree with this. Rob, for all of his, TV personality, what a great coach he was for Sierra. And I did talk to Mandy a little bit, who we didn't get feedback from this week, but she said
Gandhi.
you could tell That's who was in the delivery room with Amber when those daughters were born.
You know, a note I made for all the hate I've given Rob. I will give him credit that he was the best team leader. And what you could tell, and I found this out creating my Legal Fergus account. I mean, this was a parent talking a child through a stressful situation.
Yeah,
Like,
it was like you could tell he was a father of daughters.
yes.
Like, I didn't so much get the delivery room. I mean, I do now, but I was like,
Yeah.
well, that must be how he takes care of the daughters when they're.
And that's the thing. That comes out in little ways, different times in different shows.
The teeny tiny
Like, that's not the
increments,
first
yeah.
thing.
I think you got to remember with him, of all of them, he is playing Boston Rob on
Yeah.
the show.
Right,
He's
right. That's
not-
the character.
It's no longer
He's
him.
just a
It's who he
gamer.
was 20 years ago, you know?
Because he just
And
is always playing the game.
but
It's not
that's
personal.
that's what they expect from him.
Right.
But
Now-
you know who's the baddest ass in all this, in my opinion? Man, you talk about a good team, Dylan, and who would have thought Stuffity Uppity, Mr. Ivor is
So
just
chill.
so
He's digging through
chill,
his maggots
man.
looking for that
So chill.
ring.
They're like talking about the centipedes. Oh, this one's looking at you. How cute it is. Like so chill. Like, I mean, keep calm and carry on, Ivor. You've got it down. Like,
Oh man, him and Dylan, I bet their pulse didn't go above 50 the whole event.
they
it was
did,
just
and
killer.
I really did love. I mean, Dylan is just growing on me, guys. He's such a likable guy. You know.
I'm just happy you used his name.
Thank goodness.
Say
for
his
that.
name.
Gabby and Carolyn were great because they were keeping each other in line and they were doing like we can do hard things, you know,
Yeah,
getting
I
ourselves
really
through
like
it.
their pop top. They're
Yeah.
to each other.
But did you see again? I noticed this. Did you see them focus on their hands? I'll bet you couldn't have pried their hands apart with the jaws of life.
Carolyn's hand was purple, like or their hands were squeezed so tight.
That's how I'd be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest. I could only do it if I just held the hand and didn't look. If I looked,
Same.
I'd pull my hand up.
Close your eyes.
But
You know they're
just,
not going to do
like
anything
the
to
thing
really
falling
hurt
in my
you.
hand wouldn't bother me unless I was looking at it.
Jamie, you're my partner. We're gonna hold hands, and I'll walk you through it, and we'll be fine.
We'll
Even
be
if
fine.
I probably don't even need to
Right.
walk
She
you through
would
it.
be like happy to have a snake around her neck, I think.
But okay, but everybody's got
the snake
one
was
thing,
the least
right?
of the things.
You
yeah.
everybody has got one thing. What's the thing? What's the thing you'd go, hell no. What is it?
It's the only thing that would bother me, and it wouldn't make me lose my grip. But you know, I have a lot of long, luscious locks.
Oh, and the
and
maggots in them.
when
yeah.
like if I was gonna dress up, I think I would be like Tom and wear a hat.
Yeah,
'cause,
you want a
Yeah.
hat for that one.
like I mean, I don't think I want stuff in this long hair of mine. Other than that, I mean, you know, that's the only
Yeah.
thing that would bother me is something in my hair.
And for me,
what
it
about
wouldn't
you,
even
Chrissy?
just be. It wouldn't even just be something being in your hair. It'd be the standing there and you feel something moving. That would be.
Is
the
there
problem,
like a
'cause
creature?
that
Is there
would
like a
just be it.
specific thing that if you had to know that's what it was? You're not just blind, but you had to know what it was, you know, like what is the thing that you just, or is there nothing?
Well, I would just keep
Oh, I
telling
know.
myself that they can't actually hurt you, so it would be nothing poisonous, and it didn't even think that they didn't even do non-poisonous snakes, right? Even the scorpion was the variety of scorpion that doesn't even have a stinger.
I was immediately thinking like, oh, Tom's going to say that's the Harry Potter insect.
So I don't know. Honestly, I think if you can psych yourself out, I think I'd be fine if I could get in the right headspace. Like if it was super gross, like
If there was a rat,
excrement and things
I'm
like
effing
that.
out of there. No
Really?
rat.
A rat?
But see,
I'm not afraid of
I
rats.
don't
I
think
like
they
rats.
would do rats because rats can bite you. I don't think they would have done those. They were
Yeah,
specifically
I mean-
picking
So,
things that were
Christy
pretty
would-
easy.
True.
Christy, would you make it 8 minutes if you could stand across from a gentleman that had a twinkle in his eye, and you could just look into, you know, the
And I
luscious
get to hold his
peepers of
hand the entire
Wes,
time?
you know,
Oh my
Wes or
gosh.
Rob, and they're just holding your hand and twinkling. Would
No,
that?
she'd be a goner. She'd be a goner.
I
I
could
could
do
do
it.
any of them. There's really not
Rob
anything
would
that
talk you
like,
through it.
maybe if it was like an actual scorpion, I would be pretty wigged out because those are pretty creepy. Leeches
Right,
is the only
see?
thing. If it was leeches, I'd be, I can't
See, and I
even
still-
look at him.
So I don't think, yes, if it was something like that can actually harm you, then obviously I think
Yeah.
that's a deal breaker for most people. But that's the thing. I think they have to go in there knowing that it's not going to be that
See,
bad.
I'm in the place where I'm like thinking the whole time, like, oh my God, I'd be afraid to move my hand because I don't want to hurt the thing.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
not
oh my
only
God,
do
I
you
don't
not
want to
wanna
like squash it.
hurt them, but
Oh,
what's
'cause that would be
grosser
gross,
is
right? Who needs a
the
squash
sound
bug?
of squashing them, the feel of the crunch on
The crunch.
Ugh,
Get them with the
no.
crunch.
Not a big fan of the squelch, are
Yeah,
you?
no.
I tell you, I'm not a big fan of the what we call palmetto bugs down here, which are, in my opinion, just big ass cockroaches. I know
Are they like a
if
water
you're not
beetle?
familiar, they're an inch and a half long.
And
Aren't they gross, Christy? I know
they're
you live
pretty
down there.
gross.
Yeah,
They're pretty gross. There's
and they like run
something.
across your wall or some shit.
Well,
Well, let's put it this way. Even though I absolutely hate leeches, for $22,000, I'd tough it out. You know?
that's right.
All right, let's do it. Like, I'm going to have a couple therapy
Yeah, but it's not for
sessions and
$22,000. It's for $22,000. Maybe if you get past
Into
everyone
the
just the
else.
pot.
same.
It's going into
Just
the
the
pot.
same.
Well, but you know what, David? I'm living till tomorrow. That's all I know.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
I think the shield would be a much bigger motivator for me.
Yes. If you
Yeah,
got
the
that, you
shield's
have a
going to
good
be
partner.
important when you're down to what? 3 people possibly, around you to keep you safe in that. No, you're going to want that shield.
So was this everyone's favorite challenge this
It
season?
definitely was mine
Oh,
so
yeah.
far, for sure.
I thought that this really did a great job of you saw everyone's personality come out in this.
That's what I liked. I liked to see them actually, you're going to run and go get a box or go
People
sit on a
running is
raft.
not that
That's
entertaining
nothing.
usually.
Well, because they can't interact when they're just running.
Yeah.
Well, in this, I mean, like all pretense is dropped when like a ton of bugs are dropped on your head. Like there's no acting at that point. Like this is really happening, and your natural reaction is going to come through. And I thought that's what I enjoyed so much was seeing all of their personalities.
Yeah, and I liked watching each other like root the other one on. Um, with the exception of Rob, I mean, and maybe Rob was grossed out, but like coaching Sierra helped him not be focused on being
Yes,
grossed out.
it helped him focus on something to not.
When you go into that parent mode, you know that like if your kid's bleeding and you're trying to calm him down,
Yep.
that you can't get freaked out because they're already
right.
freaked out, right?
Right.
I live in Tornado Alley. I have
Right.
I experience it at least 5 times every spring.
And a
That
dog.
exact
Yes,
thing.
I'd love to be losing my shit, but I can't right now.
Right. Like
You
my
know,
insides are a mess.
It reminds me of a brief story I'll tell of a friend of mine was working a job where a guy cut 2 of his fingers off in like a saw, like slipped and like the guy couldn't look, so he like ran over to my friend and held his hand up and said, "Tell me, is it bad?" And my friend saw it and went, "No, man, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be just fine." Because he's like, what? He's like, it
What
was
did you
terrible.
supposed to say?
He's like, I told you it was fine. He's like, the EMTs got there, they took the thing, and the guy went and dropped. But I mean, like, there's something that comes
Did they put
over
the
you in
fingers
that
back
moment.
on?
I think they reattached one of them. I think one of them went in the chipper, and so that was
It was
reattachable.
MIA.
But
Yeah, I don't want that on
Damn
my hand in
chipper.
a box.
But that's something, that comes over you that at least that initial surge of adrenaline when it's not you, but you're helping somebody else that sort of keeps you centered. And Rob, I mean, look, Rob did a great job. My notes for this were like, you saw him shine, I thought, in that moment, because she really wanted out of that. I mean, she really wanted to
I think
quit.
if she had been partnered with anybody else, she would have.
I agree with
Absolutely.
that. Oh yeah,
Absolutely. And cheers to the other team cheering her on.
Uh-huh.
Like Chriselle and Dolores were cheering Sierra on, and I thought that was kind of cool too. Like,
Classy.
yeah, it's classy.
I did really love the commentary though when the snake is moving around and like looks over at Chriselle and she's like, no eye
don't
contact.
even look at me.
Yeah,
She's
I
not
think it
even
was
anywhere near it.
I think it was Ivor that said, "I really don't think my snake likes me." And it was turning its head towards him.
Oh, Ivor. I really, you know what? I really want him in down to like the final 3. There's just something about him that's so
I
amusing.
think Ivor is going to float all the way to the end.
I I can't argue with that. Like
Nobody dislikes him.
Ivor and Carolyn
No.
are like maybe the opposite ends of the
See,
personality spectrum,
when the
but both
pressure gets
overlooked.
on, I think Caroline wigs out. I think she exposes herself.
Nope. Nope. Don't think so.
I kept thinking that all the time during Survivor, and she never did.
It's our
So I
worry.
do
It's our
have faith
worry
that she
always.
can.
But we know, she can do it.
I think she's going to get a second wind now that Rob's gone. And it'll be real interesting to see what happens next. Like, will they pick another traitor?
Yeah, they will,
When
for
does
sure.
that happen?
Next
And
week.
Or do you don't think they'll bring in one like last year? Since they had Rob come in as an introduction, you don't think they'll bring in
no,
one
I hope they
again?
pick somebody that's there.
Me too.
But like, I mean, she could really
It's
get
too late to bring someone
reinvigorated.
new.
Yeah, she could be reinvigorated by this.
Yeah.
So, and then imagine getting somebody in there. I think most of that group has seen Danielle be a train wreck, and if they get in there and they're like, "Oh man, I should have gotten rid of her when she changed 2 portraits and cried every day," like she's a mess. I think Carolyn could find an ally and ride this pretty far.
Here's my concern. I feel like if, say, Dylan became a traitor, I think that Carolyn and Dylan would immediately align and take out Danielle. I don't think it would be that hard to imagine that's how it would go. But the producers are going to want something that creates more conflict than that, which means Brittany. Because Danielle and Brittany have made up. They're dancing with each other in the hallway.
Now they can do murder together.
Mhm.
Well, and also,
Also, Brittany's good
they
TV.
tend to pick the biggest stars to be traitors, which they're going to have to stop because it's becoming incredibly obvious.
Right.
The trope is going to get seen.
So if you have Brittany in that situation, then I worry about Carolyn because I believe that Danielle would backstab Brittany, but Brittany is not going to do it to Danielle twice.
And Brittany absolutely would backstab Carolyn.
But she would Carolyn, yeah, but not Danielle. So I do worry about Carolyn in that situation. I feel like the producers will push for something that's, going to create that drama. But if she had Dylan, I think she'd be fine. I think if she had Tom, she'd be fine.
Okay, so who do we think?
What if it was
We're getting
Ivor?
there too soon.
Do you guys want to go to the round table and then?
Yeah,
do
let's
this?
hit the round table.
Let's wait another minute.
Before we hit the round table, let's hit the commercial
Oh,
break,
indeed.
and then we'll be
Breaks.
back in 8
love a break.
seconds, and Court will be in. All right. So, round table setup. First off, Dylan presents Derek's statements, which, okay, good. Also, it's kind of funny and a little bit cheesy to me, and I would have been rolling my eyes. Like, he's not even here, dude. He's not even playing anymore. Stop it. This is Derek don't do this. But okay. So he opens it up with Derek's statement and starts to talk about Brittany. But then here comes Tom. Again, Tom presents and pushes for Rob. And
Dylan
where
brought
is
up
the
Rob,
evidence?
too.
What's
Dylan
that?
brought up Rob first.
Well, he brought up multiple names. He didn't bring up Rob. He just said, "Here's
brought
the
up
2
the-
names."
Right, here's the 2 names that Derek said.
Yeah. Here's
Bill.
the names Derek.
Which remember when he talked to Rob, he said he wasn't going to do. So that's when I knew. I was like, "Oh, Rob's screwed."
Now, Tom pushing for Rob again. Tom has, he said silly things in the past, right? Like he's like, why Dolores, Tom? But
Dolores.
Like of all of them. But this time, Tom feels like he's got a little traction under what he says because the conversations that he was having in the sitting rooms, you could tell that somebody was, actually making eye contact and feeding him the information of like, I kind of see what you're saying, because he came into that round table like very confident. We've not seen that with him. And he brings up Rob.
Well, remember, Ivar had promised to give Dylan help, like so that he could be better
Yes.
at round table. Maybe Dylan didn't take the advice and didn't take the tutorial.
Should have
Tom
been
got it
coached.
because Tom did real good.
Should have been coached. Tom was listening. He
Did real
took the
good.
tips and he presented the evidence. And Rob jumps in and starts robbing.
Okay, David. Cue the mark. You ready?
Okay, and
Here-
now, ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
it's
Here we go.
time for Brian's rant.
It took the dumbest person there to not be swooned by this guy. Okay? And while they're there, kudos to Tom that they're sitting there in the sitting room, and Rob says, blah, 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 blah. He gets up, and Tom is like, that dude's a traitor. Like, everybody else ignores everything, and it's just like, yeah, it's Rob. It's Rob. And you know what? I like Dylan. This is not meant to totally impugn Dylan, but boy, did he push harder for Brittany than he did for Rob. And he was playing his loyalty to Rob, and they got Rob the traitor. Did you notice where Rob was sitting when he was in the sitting room, throwing out names? He was throwing out names to those three women around him, and then Brittany walks in and they're shooting her daggers, and she knows something's up.
She felt a vibe.
She knows Rob or somebody had poisoned the pool for her right there.
He was
now,
robbed.
you're sitting there watching this, and of all the people, the most obtuse person has to be the one that can. It's like he has the magic helmet that doesn't let somebody inside his brain. He is Magneto.
Has the immunity. Yeah, he's got immunity to it.
It's the hat.
It took him, and in his yes, he had Magneto's hat, and in his credit, he at the table, he got pissed off and made the case and laid it out. And how did no one else see? The three people that went after Rob all ended up dead. And then Rob's like, well, like that's just somebody's trying to frame me. Somebody's just trying to frame me. And every person he picked but Danielle wasn't a traitor. Kudos to Tom. You know what? Sometimes the dummy wins, and the dummy won. And he may be a smart guy. I don't know. I'm just the way they portray him on the show. Bless his heart. Good for you, Tom. And as I put in my post, not everyone achieves self-actualization. Tom did in this episode, and the dumbest guy taking out the smarty pants guy and being the guy that drove it home, and that guy losing to him, and Danielle driving the final spike in him when we'll be together. Like, good. That guy got his ass handed to him by the two worst players at the thing, because everybody else's head is up their hind end. Bye-bye, Rob. Bye-bye, loneliness. Thank you, Tom.
Well, let me say, I think Rob made a terrible tactical error. He needed the scapegoat, right?
Always.
Why does he pull on Superman's cape? Why does he mess with Brittany, who's a Big Brother winner, who is prepared for his bullshit? Had he gone after Danielle, Danielle would have imploded and would have gone home.
Oh, yeah.
He said something stupid. And so it was really a mistake on his part, because he went to a player that plays at his level, or at least almost at his level, right?
Well,
they've never played against each other until
this is where you can see where the preparation for the game was missing for him, and that he probably didn't watch a whole lot of Brittany Hayne reels. And I think a part of it is,
had he known, it was the wrong person.
Look at her. How many of them commented about how she's just being like really low key and she doesn't really say anything and so on. And then when Brittany came to the table and had to defend herself,
well, what did the guy say?
It wasn't really showy. It wasn't like a showstopper, but it was so clear and concise.
Very earnest. And
and she said, I can tell you in full confidence this is a
Right.
misfire. We are going to be
Right.
back here next week doing this same thing, saying the same thing.
I thought she did okay to keep the heat off of
Mm-hmm.
her, but let's not kid ourselves. Tom swung that table.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah, he definitely controlled it. He definitely controlled it.
Rob, this was Rob's worst performance because you know what? I believe
Because he picked the
Rob.
wrong Patsy.
No. Because Rob would have went back at anybody else at that table, but he had nothing on Tom. Tom didn't sit and click with him. He didn't, commiserate with him. Tom sat and listened and said, that guy's full of crap. He had nothing to go back at Tom with. And so he turned to the one person whose name he'd been trying to.
See, and that was the mistake. He should,
Yes.
like David said, he should have gone Danielle. He had
She would have
started those.
imploded.
He had started
And she would have
those
gone home.
seeds. He had started the seeds for Brittany last week. You don't have to try to, you can't reap that already. It ain't ready. You wait, Brittany, maybe next week. This week would have been the week to hit Danielle after her acting so sporadic and weird.
Tell me what you think of this, because I wrote this down. I think he had to go after Danielle because after he killed Bob the drag queen and was so sure about it and he was going to be the traitor killer, if he misfires again, he's gone next week anyway. Like,
Right.
I mean, if he leads the charge and they kill 3 faithfuls and then they kill another faithful, there's only so many times you can say, I was framed, until it's like there's 3 people left and you're still saying, I'm not a traitor,
And if
guys.
Danielle had
Brian,
gone
I
home as a
confess.
traitor, he would have been like the king again.
Yes, he would have bought credibility.
Anointed.
Right. I confess, Brian, that didn't occur to me, but yet another reason he should have gone Danielle over.
Yes.
He was pulled.
And our good friend Dennis opines 'twas Rob's hubris killed the beast.
Yes.
Thank you, Dennis, and you are correct.
We're going to go ahead and give you a star on that comment.
Yes.
He
Right.
really should have done that first. Held off on Brittany. He could have. I'm not saying that I would want him to hit Brittany, but I'm just saying she would have been a smart player. He could have taken her out next week.
Now,
Yes.
okay, so we're talking about like why are you
or they
thinking
could
the
have
way
made
that
her
you're
a- I'm
when
sorry.
you when you look at the people and who they voted for, okay? When you go through this, because I have everybody's votes down here, with the exception of Dylan, who
Coward.
said voted for Gabby, and he did. He straight up he rode the fence on that, but he admitted to it. Like I'm not picking either, whatever. Other than Dylan, you have got Chriselle who voted for Tom, and who was there was one other one, Dolores. So Chriselle and Dolores both voted for Tom. What's interesting is that Rob talked to the Bambis and was trying to get them to see Brittany. And they didn't pick Brittany or Rob. They picked Tom. I am so perplexed
It's
by
personal.
what those
Do
two
you-
are doing.
Do you
Yeah,
think it
because
was
had they gone
because?
Brittany, it would have been a close vote, right?
Yes.
But do you think it was because they liked Rob because he did talk to them and they liked him, and so when they saw Tom coming after Rob, they went, "Oh no," and that made them pivot to Tom right there.
I it could be. I also think they just don't like him for
Hey,
whatever
let
the
me-
purpose.
Let me throw out a question just on the roundtable that comes from our comment from Dennis. He says, do you think Alan and the staff look at the votes that are written on the chalkboard before they are revealed and picks the order that way? Because he said the order of the votes as they're revealed is almost always
Yes.
turns out to be perfectly dramatic.
Yes.
And Alan can walk around and see what everyone's written,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
I'll
no,
bet
no,
there
not
are.
only
I'll
that,
bet
there's
there are
cameras all over
high angle
that place.
cameras. Yeah, there are high angle cameras they're like the NSA spying on
Absolutely.
those votes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I absolutely
Just
believe
like
that they do.
Jeff has to put them in
Yep.
order in the urn. It's the same.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff
for them.
doesn't do that. He has staff do that. He's far too important
Well,
to touch a
it
vote.
is
He has
done
help.
per Jeff's wishes.
He's like, that's a lot of work for staff to put the votes in order.
I do like I one of my favorite parts of this, I don't think I'm alone, is when somebody is banished, and the reveal, especially when it's a traitor, but the reveal, when they get to label their game. And Rob's it felt very very Rob. I
Now
really,
and forever, or now and always will be.
a traitor. And
Yeah.
but the joy, it's like the ridiculous
The sparkle
amount
in
of
his
joy
eye as he said it.
that it brought. Because when Rob has been voted off of other things, yeah, there's high fiving or people are smiling, like they're
Yeah.
proud of what they did, but never has it almost been a ticker tape parade. Like this was something.
Well, they'll do that after not sending home any traitors. I mean, they were gonna do it if it had been Danielle, they would have done that too.
Oh,
Don't you think?
yeah, it's the relief. It's the relief
Yeah.
of, oh, we
Oh my
caught
gosh,
one.
finally.
I
Maybe we
think that
don't suck quite so much.
I think they would have done it after Danielle, but I think they did it a little bit extra because Rob would like Rob had some of them fooled, and I think when they got him, they were like, "Holy crap, we got one!" And it was like a
Yeah.
big one. Like
He
it-
was a shark, you know?
Yes,
He was the
yes.
shark. So good job, faithfuls. Finally, it's frustrating because I will always say yes, Rob is a gamer and he has a special way about him, but 50% of his game is the stupidity that surrounds him, and
He knows
this
how
was
to
no
harness
different.
that. He
Right, but
harnesses it.
this is the first time I've seen him tactically outsmart himself.
Yes,
Right,
yeah.
where this was an own goal. He could have gotten out of this week.
It was like he was like running downhill and he was going so fast and everything was so good, but then his feet got out of order and then he tumbled.
I
Literally,
almost
'cause he
made
was doing
I
so
almost made a photo of him, and the song I was going to overlay over him was "My Own Worst Enemy" by Lit,
Yeah,
because
fair.
like he had an option that he didn't take, but to show that I am a gracious person, I will say his exit I thought was the polar opposite of Wes, and they were both perfect. I thought the way that he said goodbye was nice and showed some class. And so enjoy the rest of this season in Boston, Rob. But you were classy on the way out.
There
Well,
we
of
go.
course he is,
Good.
because he's got 9 other shows they're asking him to be on, like today.
He's off to his next gig.
Yeah.
He's
Probably.
packing his,
It's shooting
he's
season,
on
honey.
his way.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
So,
those folks are playing for the prize money. Rob
Yep.
paid, trust me.
yeah, it's an hourly contract, I think,
Yeah.
with him. Okay, so speaking of Rob leaving, that is going to bring us over to our feedback. We did get some email today from
Email
Maggie.
Yay!
the magic
Maggie!
Yahoo email.
Maggie says, "Hi friends. Damn, Rob is gone. It will be interesting to see where the show goes from here. I think it might be a little less entertaining. I know that Brian isn't a Boston Rob fan, but he was a really good partner to Sierra during the Hands Gross Bugs Crawling on You challenge. And he was the only one talking his partner through it. And he was the only guy partnered with a woman. He was a good coach for her. Maggie." Yeah, Maggie, we agree with you.
Dolores wishes she'd been paired with Rob.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah,
it could have been
absolutely.
me.
You know, Maggie, I have to say, I'm sorry that Rob left for you, but I'm really happy for me.
Well, thank you very much for the
Yes, thank you,
feedback,
Maggie.
Maggie. And if anybody
Maggie,
else,
I have to say, Maggie, you're usually a little more verbose. So I feel like
she
I
was
feel
a
a
little
little
down.
gypped by the brevity of your feedback.
She was
Well,
a little down. She is a big fan of Rob. It's really hard when your favorite leaves.
she's got to work on her sparkle before she can.
Well, we have
The stars have a little less twinkle in them
They
tonight
do.
A little
for all
less
you.
twinkle for Maggie on this episode, but maybe something will spark in the next episode. But if you have any feedback or comments that you want to send our way, you can email us at tallythefeedback@yahoo.com.
Yahoo.
Yeah.
Yahoo!
Yahoo!
And
Remember
if
that?
you want to send
No, you don't
feedback,
remember that. You're too
if you
old
want to
now.
send feedback, tell us who you think is going home from the church. Because I think we need to talk about that
Yes.
wonderful
That was-
church.
Before we
Yes.
move on, we have some Insta feedback that I want to share.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
okay,
Our
all
friend
right.
Esoteric Candy says, "Gotta be honest, While I didn't think I was rooting for him, I'm considerably less enthused to watch the rest of the season.
He's TV.
So say we all, Scott.
He's just
He's
TV.
just a really great, like, extra ingredient to bring that spice, you know?
Bah humbug. Let the traitors continue.
You don't want the spice just on its own, but yeah. You know.
All right. And he also says, I initially wanted to root for Carolyn, but her paranoia has made her irritating as all kinds
That's
of
a
F
beep.
for most of the season. I'm going to disagree. I can understand why the Candyman might think that, but the Jamie Jo, adore her quirky craziness, and I'm here for the ride.
I mean, I don't know that it's been paranoid any more than just that's her.
It's just
and let's
her.
remember they did go to a secret room without finding her first.
Yes.
There were like the first two turrets where she was standing there and they were just talking to each other and she was like, am I even here? So
Yes. Not to mention the fact
hello.
that Danielle had put her name in everybody's mouth
that's
for a
right.
solid 2 days.
So I mean, maybe it's the right amount
There's
of
a little
paranoia.
reason to be
Hey, listen.
paranoid.
If on behalf of Carolyn, if you're wacky and you know it, clap your hands. If you're wacky and you know it, clap your hands. That's Carolyn. She's just wacky and she stays wacky. So
It's always
you know,
about Carolyn's hands, man. I'm just telling you.
exactly.
What?
See, call back.
Clap hands.
It
Call
used to
back.
be Grandma's hands, but we have moved on to Carolyn's hands.
So now
Well,
can we talk about those
so who's-
wonderful outfits in the chapel?
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
do it.
Oh, it was
Once again.
so pretty. So
Some
pretty.
They're gonna have
really
such
hot
a fun
outfits.
party.
And ridiculously theatrical and just like
And deliciously over the top. It
It was like
I loved
listening
it.
to an old Meatloaf album.
okay, wait.
It
like-
was.
It was like English country wedding meets Beetlejuice.
yeah,
Oh, but the last words were all like high school theater level acting.
Oh my
Like it was
gosh.
so
So-
deliciously cheesy.
It was
Like
so
you know,
freaking
traitors,
cheese.
you better kill me. If
Oh
not,
my
I'm
gosh,
coming for
Dolores.
you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really excited just to see the like face-to-face murder. Like that's again, it's back to that the reveal.
Okay, so who's it
But
gonna be?
who do you think it is? Yeah.
They did a misdirect. They tried to make you think it's Tom.
With
So
the
I
big
don't
eyes.
think. Yeah, with like he went. Oh
Oh my god.
I don't think it will be him. I mean, like thinking of those two, man, it's hard to say of that group. If they're smart, if you really want to mess stuff up, you take out Dylan, and then you try to pin it on Brittany.
That's a move. That is definitely at least pulling the direction people are already looking a little bit.
Well, it does because the only way they're gonna go home is at a round table. So all you gotta do is try and get somebody set up for the next round table, so it ain't one of you, right?
Yeah. I kind of feel like it'll end up. I don't know if either of these women have it in them to cut Dylan. I think that's going to be a problem for them. I do think that
Because
Dolores
he's cute
is
or because he's nice?
both. I mean, he's just. They both think that he's their ally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Dylan believes he's both of their allies. He just doesn't realize he's only aligned himself with the traitors.
Yeah, he liked all the traitors. This is
But-
my group,
You know-
guys.
He doesn't
Does
know
it
how
look
good
like
he is
you
at this game.
As
the
I
guy
watch
who's
the
driving the
show
getaway
more,
car
I think
doesn't
that
even
doesn't
know it.
matter. I think you should only be concentrating on getting through the next week. It doesn't matter who you're aligned with, and finding the
True.
traitors is irrelevant.
And guess what? And that is where somebody like Carolyn brings in the mantra of addiction, one day at a time.
Yep.
And
That's
she
how
said
you
she
put it
said
in.
that.
Mhm.
She
Any
said that
name
in the
but
tower.
mine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and if you play cards, you don't play the cards, you play the player. So you don't play the game, you play the players. And day-to-day survival of playing the players, it's going to be interesting going forward. And now that Rob's gone and Derek's gone, Wes is
Who's gonna
gone.
shine? Yeah.
I mean, like who's gonna be the leader? And I think I think Dolores might step up and
I think they need
try
to
to
cut
become a
her.
leader.
I think she's going to be someone they have to look out
I
for.
think
They
it'd
might
be
as well
so.
get rid of her.
I think it'd be so funny if all of a sudden it was Ivar.
Ivor would be a great traitor.
I'd at least be here for it. I mean, I'd cheer
Because
for
you
it.
know who needs that $250,000? A royal. That's who
Probably.
needs it.
Yeah, they probably do.
Let's give that to Ivor. Yeah, yeah. So
Dennis opines that he thinks Caroline's goofy looks are a director's cut and they're just editing her badly. I think that's authentically her.
That's her.
Nope,
That's her.
okay. I'm gonna say both. Yes, it is her. She's doing it, but I'm gonna guess that it's
They're gonna time
easier
it.
to like, yeah. Mhm.
Give it a little
oh,
timing.
and let's be
Let's
honest. You had to
accentuate that a
grab
little bit there.
you had to grab her with one of her looks with those two black bows in her hair. Okay,
Yes!
No,
you had to. It was too good.
Yeah, it was good. And if you like an avid follower of her Instagram for the last couple of years, like that's her expression. Like, like there's certain people that use swear words as, punctuation in their sentences. She
When
uses
they're traitors.
yes.
hair bows.
She uses facial, contortion.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say the hair bows because I was like,
Like she definitely has a
not a
very
great
clear like
punctuation.
F you face. Like an oh my god, I'm freaking out face. Please don't look at me face.
I like when she
Danielle?
does this. When she does this, she goes.
She gets so intense.
I can't
Chuck
even make
gets
my
down and
eyes do what
focuses
she
in.
does. Her eyes go in two different directions.
Danielle
Yeah.
asked her a question, and it was like, because now they're a team now, right? And Caroline looked at her and went,
Yeah, yeah, she
Like-
did.
like, I was
She
like,
did.
what are you doing? You don't look like you. She's gonna know you don't think you're a team. It was so. It was she. How do you sarcastically nod? But she did it. She did it. Good
Yeah,
job, Caroline.
you know what, esoteric candy. if you listen to the show, you know that I am always willing to go against the fan favorites. So, hey, I want to see where Carolyn goes. And I'm pulling for her, but I'm not exclusively for her. I do like Ivor, and you know who's sort of the wild card here, who we're not talking about. We're not talking about
Gabby?
Sam. No, we're not talking about Sam.
I know that guy.
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
That's
Yeah.
it, Sam. Exactly.
See, okay, Gabby Jr. over there. You don't know who Sam is?
Sam is like Tom's twin brother.
Yeah.
No.
No, they're just like they're the same. They're the same.
I
They're the
think
same
I thought
character.
This was the same guy every time they show
I think
him.
he's Britney Spears' ex,
Yep.
which Britney said if he becomes more prominent, she was going to keep working in
They're
Britney
both
lyrics
dark
to
and-
him.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're both dark and handsome. One has an accent and one does not. Right?
Yes.
You're right. I
Yeah.
forgot about Sam. Sorry,
See,
Sam.
see, like he could be the dark horse because he's sort of way
He's
in
gonna
the
float
background.
until
Yep.
the end. What? No.
I mean, like if we were to get a confessional or two from the aquarium that said, "Oh, okay, well, he's kind of got his eyes on things." I mean, maybe, but thus far we really even haven't had that. So
Like all
I'm
of a
not
sudden,
sure
him and
what
Ivar,
Sam's
like,
placement
joined
is here.
forces and like
Yeah.
figure it all
Um,
out.
Before we
Yeah,
think
but-
about wrapping up, we have one more kind of sad piece of business to deal with
All right.
because I no longer have a winner's pick.
It's time to pick a new winner.
So I need all of you all to tell me. I think Jamie has the only original winner's pick. Is that right?
Yeah, because it's Carolyn. It's-
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody else lost their winner's pick, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay, but
replay.
okay, so you have Carolyn. Who do you have, Brian?
Who do I have, Jamie?
Brittany.
Christy had. Yeah, you have Brittany. Christy
I
has
have Brittany.
Dylan.
You have
I have
Carolyn,
Dylan.
and
I
Christy
have
has Dylan. Yeah.
I know.
So I can't take any of them.
That's
Danielle.
true. You got to go for your own.
No, I'm going to take Ivor.
All
Are
right.
you?
I'm going to take Ivor's grown on me like a fungus.
Might as
He's
well.
not a very fun fungus though. Not a
No,
George
they're like a
fungus.
quiet fungus, like a
No,
quiet, like
Ivor is
A
not a
cushy,
fungus.
relaxed fungus.
Ivor is not like somebody who's like obnoxious and grows on you.
No,
Ivor is
no.
like cool and chill and comfortable like Winnie the Pooh.
And
Ivor
if he
is
has
a
tea for
nice
you,
Earl Grey tea by the
Yeah.
fire. Is what
Yeah.
Ivor is. And I want to
Ivor.
add this. I learned something right before we came online. I saw a video that Dylan and Dolores, they don't show it a lot in the show. They're actually really close while they
Oh,
were there. And Dylan considers her like, a sister mom figure, and she considers him like her son. So we might see some
interesting.
of that in the episodes.
So
Well,
they
now
may
that
come.
Rob is
defend
So
gone,
each
maybe some
other.
of these stories will start pushing forward, right? For us to
Oh,
see.
Well, now that it's not the Rob show, they're allowed.
that's
Right,
right.
exactly.
okay. Predictions on who will go home. Who's got?
I think
Oh.
it's gonna be Dolores for the murderer.
I think it's Dylan.
All right.
Christy?
She's
Who else
like,
is
I
there?
don't want to. The list is Chriselle, Dolores, Dylan, Tom, or Gabby.
I think they would do Tom.
Maybe.
I'm going to go with Tom too because I do not think Danielle and Caroline are going to cut a woman. I think they're going to cut a man.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
it's either Tom or Dylan. Dylan's far more lovable. Tom is playing too hard, so Tom goes home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that
And they
the
haven't really hung with him or anything, so
And then roundtable predictions. Anyone have one?
not even a little bit, because I think it really depends on who gets murdered out of this group, because I feel like if Tom's gone, that's going to appease the Bambis. And then they're
Okay.
going to like not pay attention to anything, because the only thing that they're gunning for is gone.
If
Do you-
Dylan's gone, it's chaos.
Yes. Yep.
do you think that the whole Brittany of it is going to continue to be an argument? Is Dylan still going to say, well, he was right about Rob. He thought, Derek thought it was her too, so it must be Brittany, and go with that? Like Rob had
I kind of feel
already
like
thrown Bob out. Why wouldn't he throw out, Danielle or Brittany as well?
No, I
Brittany's
think
going to
I
get
think
left.
he's.
I
I think
think
the
she's
Brittany
gonna win.
thing's going to fall apart.
Yeah,
You think so?
I just
I
don't
hope
think that there
so,
was
but it
enough
worries me.
standing, enough standing there, because the entire assumption that Derek made about Brittany wasn't strong enough from the beginning, because all he had with her is that she looked over at Dylan and said, "No."
Okay.
No. Derek,
I
what
think
Derek
it's
had was she had defended Rob, and that looked suspicious to Derek. Remember?
Yeah, but so
yes,
did
That's what Derek
Dylan,
had
and
on.
so did the
so did Dylan.
Bambis, and
But I think that she has some insurance of Rob going after her. Like I think that helps. That and also, I mean, whose name was he planting that whole day? Like he was planting her name all day, and she had done nothing in the group to arouse suspicion other than him dropping her name. Like this idea of like you're just being quiet. I'm sorry if I'm walking around making points. I can point to a hell of a lot of things
I will
Danielle's
say,
done.
out of the entire group, the only person other than Rob that voted for Brittany was Sierra.
Mm.
Nobody
And
else put her name down.
And Sierra, bless her heart, said, Rob is a good guy. Like, I trust him. He gained her trust holding her hand and
Yep.
walking her through those creepy crawlies.
No.
And guess
Yep.
what? He was still a traitor.
Yep.
Now, who will be selected to replace Rob?
Well,
It
who
depends
would you select? I think it's a more
Well,
interesting question.
It's going to be Brittany
I think it's
because
going to be
Brittany's
Brittany.
good for TV. So
Yeah.
She's got a little bit of heat on her, man. Like
Brittany,
if
I also think there's a good possibility of it being Sierra.
that's an interesting call. If I'm a traitor, you know who I get? I pick
Ivor.
Ivor.
Because no one's going to ever think Ivor.
I pick Ivor. You think
Well-
you think he's the first Mountbatten to order an execution?
No.
He's not.
Well,
No. Okay. Just for the fun of it, because it is Rob, and once he's gone today, we don't get to make these snarky comments anymore. But because Rob is Rob, what if Rob's the one who gets to pick the next traitor? Who does
That'd be
Rob
fun.
pick?
Brittany.
No, he does chaos on them for the way they acted. If he got to pick, he would
Sam.
bless them with Tom. He would bless
No,
them with
Sam.
Tom. No, no, no. Rob would not want them to win. He would be like,
You think
screw
Sam would
them.
help
They
them
were.
win?
Oh, Sam's under the radar. He would pick Tom because Tom is. He would just be like,
I had to
okay,
babysit you guys. Now you're gonna babysit
that's
him.
right. That's right. The kids having kids. There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
I love it.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that we need to cover before we dip out for the evening? I feel like we've hit
It was
all
a
of
good.
the
It was a
marks.
good week. It was a good week. Very
So-
excited about it.
It was very, very entertaining. I gotta say,
I
the
loved
last
it.
couple weeks has been good TV.
There's just something so it's not there's just something. The mystery of the game, the overdramatics, the theatrics, the funny characters, the TV personalities they bring in. There's just all these different mixes to the game that even on a slower episode, it's still entertaining. But sometimes you get episodes like this one where it's just like it's just so much fun and so funny. You can't help but laugh at everything, and it's in the past couple of weeks, this is something that like we need. So I love the
Yeah.
show. I hope it keeps going in the same direction
And
it's
you know what?
been going.
I like that. I like it too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not.
You're
It's not
not
oh,
like
I
shame
this
watching.
Right. It's not like, oh, this is my guilty pleasure and I can't let anybody know I'm watching this. Right. I'm like,
Yeah.
we needed this.
And I like
I'm
that Christy
glad we
likes
needed
that she likes it.
And I like that David likes it, Christine likes that she likes it.
And true to form, I don't care whether anyone likes it or not. I like it, and I'm gonna watch it because this is the only one of these shows I watch, and I enjoy it. And I'm
For
looking
now.
forward to the group being smaller and us getting more conversation and getting to know these people better. So I can't. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I can't wait. This and Severance come out at the same time on Thursdays, and I watch them back to back. And I look. It's like Jamie said. Thursday night is appointment television viewing again for the first time
And
in a
our
long
guy
time.
Brian is he is working with a certain Mr. Candyman and covering all things Severance. Brian, do you want to let people know where they can listen to that?
If you want to check out the Severance podcast on the Serious TV Drama podcast, Scott and I cover Severance every Saturday. The episode's usually out on Sundays or late Saturday night. So you could check us out there. And, I don't have a Boston Rob to rail about, and I'd like to give him a farewell. I want you to imagine my baseball hats backwards. I'd like to say, Boston Rob, you played well. I've heard a lot about you, but you're gone, and me, the best podcaster in the world, is still here. So I win. Bye-bye.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen.
we
Those are
go.
great final words to the Rob. Well, if you guys enjoyed your time with us tonight, hit the like, subscribe. Our schedule is going to get a little bit wonky for a couple of weeks, but this way you can always get the alert and then not miss out on the fun. If you'd rather listen on your work commute, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts on the Jay and Jack Whole Enchilada feed. Next week, we're going to be recording on Saturday. And though it's a day late, we promise not to make it $1 short. So happy Valentine's Day, but more importantly, happy Galentine's Day. Ladies,
Right on.
no matter what David says, we can all align, and that alliance can move mountains. So stand up for each other.
That's right.
So until next week, goodbye, everybody. It's been a blast, and have a great night.
Good night.